Fine-a-fucking-ly. Grab yourself a drink, guys. And let's fucking do this. If you are new here, welcome. But you have come in at the tail end, because this tool I have been waiting for the best part of a decade now. Like many of you watching, I have been told it's just around the corner. There's one in the country at the moment. We're just testing it. It's 6 months away. Oh, it'll be next year, blah, blah, blah. For 8 or 9 fucking years now. But anyway, all that's behind us now, because it finally exists. I finally have my hands on one. It's finally sitting here on the bench for us to review. So without further ado, let's open this thing up. Let's do it unboxing style. Haven't done something like that for a long time, I don't think. It better be in this box. I better not have got the wrong thing. This is number 18. I should have looked through the palette at Tradie Republic, seen if I could have found number 1, because I got this at Tradie Republic. I'll put a link down below. If you're in New Zealand, get one quick. There's not many of them. And if you don't get one now, you're going to have to wait until at least March next year. So, yeah, get in there. Wherever you are in the world, these are going to sell out pretty quick when they are available. But are you ready? Shall we lift the camera up? Or shall we just take a peek? Hey, shall we take a little peek? Oh, 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 oh. That's a big case. A very big case. Unnecessarily big. I mean, that looks a bit overkill. There's a hell of a lot of storage down the bottom here. Got a space here for chargers, batteries, plenty of battery space. Can have one on the tool, looks like another 3 down there. You could chuck another one up there, probably charger in there. You could run batteries all the way along there if you wanted, or fill that with nails presumably. Anyway, there she is, the elusive Makita Framing Nailer. It's actually hard to believe that it is in front of me. I kind of, at one point I sort of gave up thinking it would ever happen. But here it is. So it's not a blow molded case, it's an ABS case, like what your Mac packs are made of, and it's got this insert. There's the Nomar tip. And the instructions, this is of course the DBN900, the DBN901 is the 22 degree angle, this is the 30 to 34 degree angle, which is what we use in this part of the world. But if you are in the States, you will, big bastard of a thing, you will want the 22, is it 22? Fucking something like that, you guys know what it is if you live there. So it won't even be called the DBN901 probably, it'll be the, what is it, I've forgotten already. It'll be the XBN04. Now, first impressions, what do you think? Quite short in the body there. It's made of polycarbonate, which is nice. Turn her around. She's a bit weird shaped here on the top. What do you think? Big rafter hook on the side. Now, when it comes to nailers, there is a couple of things that come up all the time. If you're a tool reviewer, you'll know these things. So there's 2 things that come up that people want to know. Does it sink nails deep into an LVL? And how much does the fucking thing weigh? Well, when it comes to weight, this thing feels pretty bloody heavy, to be honest. It's not going to be a nice light improvement over all the other models you know. It is, yeah, still pretty heavy. We'll chuck it on the scales in a moment and compare it to the others, see how heavy it is. But first of all, we'll look at a few more features. I still just can't believe it's sitting here on the bench after all these years. Need to have another drink. One moment. As well as that rafter hook on the other side, of course, we've got a belt hook here. The magazine. Good spring there. This is metal, of some description. This bit on the end here is plastic. Looking at the front, I mean, it's a framing nailer, you know. They've been around a long time now. It's not like this is anything new, unfortunately, because we've all been waiting, and many of you will have, like I have, purchased different brands. I got my first Hikoki one probably, geez, I don't know. It was just as, I mean, they came out as Hitachi nailers. That's how long ago it was. But if you have been hanging out, the Makita one is, as you can see, finally here. Let's look at the angles there. What do you reckon? It's kind of more compact in places, yet not so much on the head. Look at the size of this. This is very wide, but it'll sit like that, which is nice. I do like nail guns that sit like that, so you can plonk it down like that and then pick it up. It's nice and easy to pick up when you're standing. It's a bit awkward here on the bench, but when you put it down on the ground, it's nice and easy. Now this particular one is going to be a little bit different to the one most of you are going to get, because if you live in New Zealand, you're going to get one like this. And if you're in the rest of the world, you're going to get one that is a bit different just here. Because in this part of the world, for some stupid fucking reason, we are only allowed to fire one nail at a time. We're not trustworthy enough to be able to fire with bump fire, okay? Yeah, I know, leave your nanny state comments down in the comment section. But it is what it is. So in this part of the world, you've got to go boom, pull the trigger, boom, pull the trigger. You can't leave your finger on the trigger and go bang, 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 bang. But I've got a Milwaukee one that'll do that, so hey. So when it comes to the power button and the selection, it's just on and off. That's it. How long does it stay on? Well, don't know yet. We'll find all that out by the end of the fucking video. Might lose advertising with all the swearing I've been putting in this video. Holy moly. Speaking of advertising, there's something I want to try that I saw the other day, and I didn't really believe whether it was true. And it was, if you say a certain thing, that YouTube will put in an advertisement. So it was, if you say YouTube advert, there will be a YouTube advert put in there. So leave a comment down below if you just got like 2 adverts or something. So I'll try it one more time, YouTube advert. Did you just get like 3 adverts or anything? Let me know down below. I want to see if that fucking works. Anywho, I don't know whether I should talk about it or just go use it or what. I'm just a bit perplexed that it's actually in front of my eyes here. Now this particular model is made in Japan. Now I'm guessing, this is totally just a guess on my part. Haven't heard this from anybody. This is just my theory that this one's made in Japan and it has only the one firing system, you know, the no bump fire, and that the ones with the bump fire might actually be more mass produced in China. I'm not sure. It's ironic as well that these are made in Japan when, if you think New Zealand laws are bad, in Japan they're not allowed to sell these at all. You need a firearms license to have one of these. So they won't even sell this in Japan, hence why I couldn't get it early or anything like that. Had to go out and buy one, old school. One of the reasons they probably didn't get around to making one for so long is because they don't use them in their own domestic market. They've made it just for the rest of us. Now, there are some of you who are not totally au fait with these kind of things that'll be saying, hey, Mr. YouTube guy, what friggin' battery goes on it? Well, I'll show you. It takes an 18 volt LXT Makita battery. Any amp hour, as long as it's an LXT battery, on it will go. I'll test it later to see if it works with the 14 volt ones too, eh? Oh, let's turn it on. Okay, got to hold a finger on there for a couple of seconds. It's now on. We have a turned on Makita cordless framing nailer on the workbench here. It's a miracle. Anyway, let's turn that back off for a moment. A couple of seconds, off it goes again. Battery off, safety first. While we're talking batteries, let's have a look at the battery end and see what they've done here. It's got a slightly separate area. Yeah, not a lot of movement in that. I thought it might be a bit more sort of spongy, you know, so it absorbed the, we got, inside here it is rubbery. It's not rubber, of course, nobody uses rubber anymore. It'll be a TPE type overmolding like the stuff on on the rest of the tool, or the stuff that's on the hand grip and everything. It's inside there to cushion impacts to help your battery. If we look here, you can pull that down a bit. So yeah, there is a bit of cushioning there. It just helps all your contacts stay in contact and stuff like that. You have a look at the battery area when you've got a battery on it. There's a bit of a sort of cutout here where you can get your finger in there and push the button for the, see there, you can see the lights lighting up on the battery gauge. Now, it's only going to work if you've got scrawny little fingers like mine. You've got big fat sausage fingers, I think you're going to be shit out of luck. The magazine looks pretty sturdy. Like I said, it is metal. I'm guessing, is it aluminium or... Let's get a magnet. Just aluminium, I think. It's not ferritic anyway. It's alumitic or or plastitic. Feels kind of weird. Maybe it's magnesium. Now I don't know yet if you can get an extended magazine. It's quite nice at the end here. If you have a look the way it nestles in there. So yeah, I'm not sure how many nails you can get in there. I mean, you'll get one strip obviously, but I don't know if there's another extended magazine for 2 strips. There probably will be in the future if there isn't now. Trigger feels pretty standard. At the front here, let's take a look. That'll be magnetic, of course. Let's line up these noses, with a few of the other noses. Now, if you're a DeWalt user, complain down below that I haven't got a DeWalt here, but yeah. I can't be bothered listening to the fucking things. I hate the sound of them. So no flywheels in this video. So we're going to take a look at the tips. AG/rigid. Milwaukee, vastly different there from the AEG. And then Makita, sort of offset this one. You can see it's narrow on this side and wide on this side. Got some very aggressive teeth on the very sides. The front bit very similar to the Milwaukee, but yeah, far more aggressive on the sides. The Ryobi, which is the same as the AEG/rigid, and the Hikoki, once again got those sort of similar spikes on the front as the Milwaukee and the Makita, but not so much on the side. It does have some a bit further back on the side. So how well do they grip? Well, we'll check that out later. Maybe. We'll see what happens. My video, do what I want, Just think, once I've reviewed this, I can retire. I've done all the nailers that I need to do. Taking a look at the size of these things, the AEG/rigid and the Ryobi are taller than the rest, then the Milwaukee, then the Makita and the Hikoki are similar in height. But if you look at the width of them, like the Makita is a big unit. It's pretty wide. Much wider than the Milwaukee, and it's even wider than the Hikoki, which is surprising. Hey Tony, would you give it a rest? What did I tell you about that song, dude? Later. Yeah, bloody hell, mate. The Makita is massive. Look at the top of this thing. Let's push these to the side. Oh, shitballs. So if we have a look at the end there, it's a weird shape. It's sort of rectangular. The Hikoki was previously sort of the biggest. I mean, look at that. The Milwaukee is much smaller. Doesn't stand up as well though. Look, the Milwaukee doesn't stand, which is annoying. I like that the AEG does stand, because like I said, you want to just stick it down and then pick it back up again. It's in the perfect sort of angle. But those two do it beautifully. But look at the size of that Makita. She's a big old beast. I like big butts and I cannot lie. This video is going off the fucking rails. And speaking of rails, what's something that rhymes with rails? Nails. The nails in the rails, the nails in the magazine. 50mm to 90mm, of course. Just throw that in there right now. But as I started talking about earlier, there's the two things that people always say about, does it sink the nails deep? You know, has it got the power? and how much does it weigh? So here it is. I'm going to weigh these 5 nailers and see how we go. Because Makita have had, let's face it, a fucking long time to make this thing lighter. And by the looks of it and the feels of it, I don't really think they have. I think this one's still going to be the lightest of the ones that are on the bench here. And the Milwaukee, the AEG, the Ryobi, the Makita are all going to be in the similar ballpark. That's my guess just from, handling them all. So let's see what the official numbers are. Not official by what the companies say, but official by what my scales say. Let's have a look. Right, starting with the Hikoki, because I can feel that is the lightest. Let's take a wee look here. Just over 4 kgs, 4,065 grams. Editor, please, can we have some numbers up the sides here? Let's put grams on this side, and over on this side, over here, bung the pounds. Thank you. So Hikoki, 4,000 and let's call it 4,065. What's up next? Let's go Ryobi. Let's just tear that again. Ryobi, 4,300 and make up your mind, let's call it 65. So 300 grams heavier than the Hikoki. 4,292 for the AEG, so a little bit lighter than the Ryobi. The Milwaukee, which is a pretty heavy beast. Let's check her out. She's not going to stand there properly. We're going to have to lay this one down. Come on, you bastard. 4.4, just over 4.4 kgs, 4,403 grams. And the Makita, I'm not very confident at the moment, to be honest. This is a heavy tool. Makita, I love you, but what the fuck? 4.7 kgs? Are you fucking kidding me? After all this time, you released the heaviest fucking framing nailer around? I feel I've been lied to by many people. Come on. So that's 300 heavier than what everyone couldn't stand about the Milwaukee one being so heavy. I mean, jeez. Come on, what the hell? This better be the best fucking nailer when it comes to firing. Else, what have we all waited for? Do we need to look at anything else before we do go and fire them? Or do we just go and fire this damn thing and see how it goes? Well, let's just mention they're all got a gas cylinder of some sort in them, right? This one uses nitrogen, has to be sent back to Milwaukee to do anything about it. They're going to charge you a lot of money to fill it back up. And yeah, it's going to be an expensive tool to service. These two, you can just undo a little bit here with an Allen key and fill it up with yourself with an air compressor. So those two, you can do that. You can do that also with the Hikoki by opening it up, getting a certain part and hooking it up. And I believe that's the same for the Makita. So similar to the Hikoki, you can fill it up yourself as long as you know what you're doing. So that's a plus over, say, the Milwaukee. These three here are the top three. Let's not pretend that DeWalt's fucking in the category. Oh yeah, bitch down below. These two are the best cordless nailers on the market. They're the ones that move the most fucking units, and they're the ones that people use. So I'm not talking pass load, of course. Pass load, still the most popular in this part of the world, but that's not going to last forever. Once these nailers get a bit lighter, pass load won't have a hope in hell. But they're going to be well ahead of the Makita by the looks, because weight wise, that's super disappointing. Time to go fire some nails, methinks. While I'm doing that, why doesn't somebody go and Google this and tell me what POM stands for when it comes to plastic? Right, I guess this is the moment. I've been waiting such a long time for this. It's kind of like losing your virginity again. So here we go. Now, don't be alarmed when it doesn't fire this nail in too deep. I've got it wound right back, so it shouldn't go in flush yet. So this is it, first fire, maiden fire. I'm excited. Here we go. Oh, I better turn it on, might help, eh? Turn it on first. And 3, 2, 1. Not bad. So it's sitting up enough to get my fingernail underneath it, but not much more. Now let's wind it all the way back, baby. Let's see how deep this sucker will punch. What did you think of the sound of it? Right, there we go. We are fully wound down. Here we go, the first real fire. How deep does she go? Oh, that's pretty nice. Now this is into just some treated pine framing timber. I'm gonna now empty the magazine. So I've got one strip of nails in there. I'm just gonna go bang, 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 see how fast we can go and see how many nails are left when it locks out. Presumably it locks out. Okay, here we go. Locked out. Now, it wasn't able to go terribly fast there. I did, a couple of times it didn't fire. Let's just see how many nails slide out of this thing, if they'll slide out, and fall on the floor. 2, 4, 6, 7. 7 nails left when it cuts out. Stop you from shooting it dry. Now this is paper collated nails, as you can see, and they are D heads or clipped heads. Now you might get away with some round head nails in this. I'll try it in a moment, but it's basically classified as a clipped nailer, and if you want the full round heads, then you get the 20 to 22 degree jobby. But in this country, this is what everybody's using when they're building a house, which is primarily what you do with one of these things, or building decks and all that sort of shit. Some of those other nailers I've got will fire the round head ones, some won't. So I'll go see what I've got. Right, how about these? These are Hilti branded, they're stainless steel, full round head, and they're a bit thinner than these ones. They're a little bit shorter too, even though I'm sure they're classified as 90mm, but they're more like 85 or so, or less. They are, as you can see, they've got a plastic sort of wire between them, and it shouldn't have any problem firing these because they don't overlap too much. So let's try that. When it comes to putting nails in, if you've ever used a framing nailer before, well, you know how that goes. Just slide them in, pull that back, boom, ready to go. Super quick and easy. Let's go. Fires those in no problem. So if I let the tool sort of bounce, it'll look like this. Haven't got earmuffs on at the moment. It's not too loud, which is nice. So, and if I stop it from bouncing, I'm gonna check the recoil. So you can control the recoil pretty well. That wasn't jumping much on those shots at all. And they've gone in pretty damn deep. Let's have a close-up. So as you can see, they're sunk good and proper. This is the first one I did before I wound everything down. Didn't stick out too much. And these were some of the ones where I let the recoil bounce just a moment ago. That's what those ones were. And then once I started letting them go in, they went in good and proper, those full head nails. How much mess does it make? Not too bad. Not as bad as some of the nailers I've got. I'm impressed with the firing so far. Will it be enough to redeem the weight issue? Oh, who knows. But yeah, looking good. Let's see what other nails I've got. Oh, it was nice to finally fire it. Had to go have a lay down, I was so excited. Anyway, let's take a look at the nails. So this is the type of nails I was just using. These are, as I say before, 90mm clipped head nails, framing nails, what most people use to build houses and the like in this country. Paper collated is a generic brand, and the gun of course will also fire stainless ones. There's no difference when you're using a nail gun to firing galvanized, brights or stainless. They're all the same. It's not like a rivet tool where you need a bit more power for stainless. And they come in all sorts of sizes from 50mm up to 90mm. So that's what this gun will do. That's what it's rated at, 50mm up to 90. Then we've got those round head ones that I just used, the Hilti ones. fired those no problem with that spacing between them. See, these ones are hard against each other. This one has the spacing. These nails it will not fire in theory, so they're round head. These are for doing oh, I thought there was one here, sorry, about to swing away to take a shot of it and it's not sitting there. These are for brackets, joist hangers, that sort of stuff, and they're only 38mm, so in theory it won't fire those. And then we've got these, which I like using for fencing because they have full round heads. So they've got full round heads, but they're collated hard up against each other. Now, some of my nailers will fire this. I think the Ryobi and the AEG fire this fine. And I think even the Hikoki does. The Milwaukee will not. It just bends them over and jams them and it just all goes to shit. So it'll be interesting to see if the Makita can fire these. One of the issues I've had with these are clipped, as you can see, got the back cut off. These ones fully round, but they're offset on the heads. So they can look good, but can be fired out of a nail gun. And you need to sort of back the tool off a bit, which is what I'll do. We'll try and get them sort of flush with the surface rather than fully whacked in like some of these other ones. But because of the way they're designed, there is a chance that it'll catch two of them and try and fire two in at once, or get one in and the second one will get sort of bent and mangled. So we might get to check just how hard it is to change a jam in a moment. Let's see. In 3, 2, 1. Still firing a bit too deep. Let's back it off a bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more. This is a powerful nail gun. I'm backed right off now. And that's sort of just sticking up there. A little bit of a mark there from the striker, but fired them no problem, nothing jamming up, so that is a big positive as far as I'm concerned. And when it comes to the magazine, better zoom the camera back out a bit. When it comes to loading and unloading the magazine, it comes out nice and easy. I've got some that have a bit of sprung metal here and they sort of, it's good in a way, but when you try and take something out, it jams there and it gets caught on the paper and they're a prick to get out. Whereas these go in super smooth. This is dead easy to pull back and they slide out dead easy as well, which I like. It's very nice, very smooth, very easy. I'm liking it. It's winning me back. Now, this piece of nailed together ply is something I've had kicking around for a long time because I did a nail gun video on it. Some of you will remember and you'll see some of it in a moment. And I thought, Makita's not too far away. I'll keep it and I'll do the Makita shots on the same bit of wood and we can compare it evenly. So anyway, you can see here Ryobi nails going pretty damn good. AEG a bit further. And then the Milwaukee, you can hardly even see them. It's just smashed them in so deep. Made a hell of a mess, but definitely the deepest firing. I'll show you a better representation of that in a moment. I also fired nails through this. Some angle shots there, through ply and through flashing. So I'm going to now try and see if I can fit the Makita ones on here. I think we'll empty a clip here and see how we go. And yeah, let's do a speed test with all of these. Now it's been about half an hour since I last used the gun and it's turned itself off, which is annoying. I was hoping it wasn't going to do that. I was hoping it's going to stay on a good length of time like the Milwaukees, but fortunately not. So it might only be 20 to 30 minutes cut off. I'll maybe try and time it before the end of the video. We'll see. Makita depth of fire and speed test. Emptying out a whole clip in 3, 2, 1. Got a red overload light. That has put those in pretty darn deep. So without having the hindsight of comparing them on screen yet, I'd say speed wise pretty similar to the others. A couple of stops there, but they all do that. You know, it's hard to get the timing and the speed exactly right. They are fired in good and deep. This is the Ryobi ones. It's probably, or at least double the depth, probably more like 3 times the depth. It's all consistent. Don't worry about these ones here, they were already there. And so if we take a look at the Milwaukee, if the camera doesn't get stuck on there, it's good and deep as well. The Milwaukee, I mean, I can't even see the heads on there, but it looks like the timber's sort of swollen up when it's gotten wet. I'm just going to fire a few Milwaukee ones down here, and we'll just compare how it goes with that Makita. But on first impressions, pretty damn deep. Pretty damn deep. We haven't got any Hikoki shots on here yet either, so maybe we'll do a few here with the the Milwaukee and the Hikoki. Right, let's go with the Hikoki / Metabo HPT. This has the worst magazine in my opinion of all the nailers I've ever tried. It's plastic, where most of the other ones are metal or better quality plastic than this. This one I find it jams, the paper jams up in them, it dry fires a lot. It's just not as good as any of the other ones you'll see in this video. But weight wise, it feels almost light after using the Makita. Anyway, here we go. We are going to drive these as deep as we can. We'll just do a few, see how deep they go. I'm going to be doing all of these tools with a 5 amp hour 18 volt battery. So here we go. Pretty deep. Milwaukee. Well, hard to say, almost indistinguishable. Maybe a little bit deeper than the Makita. All of these have been done with 5 amp hour batteries. I'll flip this over now, and that's going to give us the true test of how deep all these different nailers go, and we see how much has come out the other side, because this is 90mm thick. So whatever's come out the bottom is how far in it is at the top, basically. So from underneath this first side here is the Ryobi, and a few little bumps there. Can't really see the nails too much, just a few starting to come through. This is AEG. As you can see, the tips are coming through just a little bit more there than the Ryobi, which is nice. Then we come over here. This is the Milwaukee, coming through nicely. I gotta get a spider off my camera. Then over here we have the Makita. Look at those. It's pretty darn good. So looking close up here, to me, this is the line of Hikoki nails, which are through, but nowhere near as much through as the Makita. The Makita have got maybe another couple of mil on them. The Milwaukee ones are over this side, and I'd say they're sort of, it's so close, but in between maybe. So Hikoki, not quite as deep as Milwaukee, and Milwaukee, it's close. Let's have a look at these other Milwaukee ones. Milwaukee and Makita pretty close. What do you reckon? Leave your thoughts down in the comment. Which nailer do you think nailed the deepest? Makita, straight through a joist hanger. Where shall we go? Man, it smashed them in. Holy moly. Probably better than any of the others, except for that one. That one's not too good. Not that you should be doing that with it. Anyway, Makita through 3 18mm sheets of ply and some flashing into some more ply. No bother at all. Good and deep. Now in this part of the world there are a lot of houses that have framing made of this. This is Rimu. It's a super nice native timber from New Zealand, and it has some beautiful colors and grains and stuff. And the weatherboards on my house are actually made of this, which is just criminal to think that they use such nice timber just for weatherboards that end up getting painted. Anywho, this timber, when it's dry and old, is a bit of a bastard to work with. It splits real easy when you're trying to nail it, and it's pretty damn hard. So let's just check how the Makita goes with that. Hopefully it doesn't blow it to bits. As you can see, it splits horribly, but apart from that first one, which bounced a bit, it definitely got in there. Not as consistent in the depth as going into pine. See, that one's quite close to the surface, that one's super deep, that one and that one is sort of in between. A little less reliable on that hard timber, but it is capable of doing it. Oh, I hadn't seen that. That's why that one's gone so deep. It's sort of come out the side. Let's see what else we can do here. Oh, that's hard. That is a solid piece of wood. And even a piece that small, it seems criminal destroying it. Hope I've pushed record. Yeah, all good. Right, now that I don't need to test nail guns anymore, I can retire and chop this thing up and throw the damn thing away. Actually, maybe I could dice it up into pieces and auction it off like they did with the Berlin Wall. Make me an offer. Who wants a piece of Tools and Stuff memorabilia? Last chance. I'm now going to test the balance of these things. This is going to be super scientific. Basically, I'm going to pick them up, I'm going to try and balance them on my middle finger there and just see whether they want to rock forward or back. Just, yeah, see how comfortable they are in the hand. So the Makita, it's comfortable in the hand, as you would expect, especially if you're a watcher of this channel, you know. Ergonomics, Makita is usually pretty good at that. So this is the full weight of the tool, a clip of nails, a 5 amp hour battery. Let's see, it stays pretty upright, you know. It's hard to balance it exactly on your finger there, but yeah, it seems to be pretty well balanced. The Hikoki, much lighter, but as soon as I try and balance it, it just wants to rock forward. Can't even really get it to do it. It's just rocking forward because, I mean, look at this, look at the weight in the top and the front of this thing. It's lighter, but there's a bulk of the weight here, of course, so when you're standing holding it, it sort of just tilts you like that. Ryobi, I hate the grip on the Ryobi. It's got this stupid little ridge here, and also the trigger is ridged. Why would you ridge the trigger? I mean, totally unnecessary. Anyway, let's see how she tilts. Yeah, it not as noticeable as the Hikoki, but still does rock forward. AEG, which people think is the exact same tool as a Ryobi, parts of it may be similar, but it does feel very different, and it's a bit lighter, and the handle and the trigger and everything completely different. So anyway, let's see how it goes. Yeah, tilting forward, maybe not quite as much as Ryobi, but not much in it. Milwaukee, good comfortable grip, which is a little bit surprising. As for balance, yeah, not bad, probably the second best. If the Makita is the best, let's check the Makita again. Yeah, the Makita's nice. As soon as I picked it up again, I thought, oh yeah, it is nice. Balance-wise though, pretty similar to the Milwaukee probably. It's got quite a short handle area. If you've got big mitts, maybe a problem. Look, I mean, I've got pretty small hands and I'm basically touching there and touching there almost. So if you had big wide palms, it might be a bit tight on you. If you compare that to where my hand sits on the Milwaukee, there's like space to burn. Testing the tip slippage, because tip slippage is an issue. The Ryobi, okay on that angle. Just start getting on the side. Better than I thought it was. Not too bad, better than I thought. Now the AEG is basically exactly the same tip, so there's not really much point in me testing that. One of my biggest problems with the Hikoki is that the nose, the tip there, is basically in line with the bottom of the tool. So if you want to like nail like that, you can't. You have to be up quite high for it to push down enough to actuate the tool. Show you what I mean. Can't fire. Sort of have to get up to that angle before you can fire. Whereas the Milwaukee, for instance, hasn't got any nails in it. Whereas the Milwaukee, for instance, sit the tool basically flat, you can fire it. That to me is handy, particularly on, you know, when you're trying to get into certain angles. How is the Makita with the same issue? Let's take a look. So that's basically sitting flat like that. So sit flat, push down. Oh, not quite. No fucking nails in it again. Fuck, mate. So let's test the Makita now. So that's sitting flat. The nose is actually keeping it up a bit. Push down. Not quite. Up a bit higher. Oh, you have to get it quite high. Yeah. You do have to lift it a fair bit to get it up. Even though it looks like the tip's going down, you have to actuate the tip quite a lot before it kicks in. What about on the side though? Because these look real nice for going in on an angle like that. Oh yeah, look at that. You can get it down on a real tight angle. What happens if I fire a nail here? That's what I thought it might do. It ended up in the tree over there. So be careful, it'll fire on some pretty steep angles. Having another look at the Milwaukee. Don't want to fire anything where I'm going to hit anything. Yeah, that one took off into the same tree. So those, you can do it on both. Milwaukee grip's okay. Now the Hikoki on the angle. The Hikoki actually got a much stiffer tip. You got to push it a lot harder to get it to go down and actuate. Yeah, they're all different but similar at the same time. It'll kind of depend on what sort of work you do. But the Makita's pretty good. Ooh, is that some more test material I can hack up and dump now? Gonna be nice and tidy around here after this video. Now at the beginning of this video I might have sounded a bit negative towards this nail gun, but over the past few days of using it, yeah, it's grown on me. I quite like it, but I do have 2 complaints. 3, what about XGT? What's that, Tony? What did I tell you about yelling at XGT? Okay, 3 complaints. Tony's got a complaint as well, and it is something I do need to address, I guess. This is an 18 volt tool. Where's the XGT model? Well, there is no XGT one yet, but yes, there will be one, of course. But how long we have to wait for that one, who knows? Not even going to really speculate, being that it's a nail gun, but I'm going to anyway, look. With the track record of some of the other tools, it's usually 1 year before they change to other voltages with Makita, it seems to be, with other tools in recent past. So, you might not get this until Christmas next year in a 40 volt, but we'll have to wait and see. They may have built up a heap of stock of these in 18 volt, and the XGT are in production now, and they won't be too far away. Who knows? But don't hold me to that, because with Makita and framing nailers, who knows? And so as for the other 2 things, wait. Wait in every sense of the word. It's a heavy wee beast, and what the fuck is that? Is that you, Tony? No, I think my wife's been down here and done her favourite little task. If you've watched this channel for a while, you may have noticed a few tools over the years having googly eyes and things put on them, so she strikes again. So the weight, yeah, it's heavy. The balance helps a little bit, but if you're using this above your head, well, it's heavier than everything else. Simple as that. And the other thing, if you're in this part of the world, it's an issue, but it's not if you're anywhere else. There's no bump fire. I don't use bump fire really much anyway, but if you're sistering some boards and you want to quickly just whack through, then yeah, the bump fire is handy. But not available in this part of the world, but will be where most of you are, so don't panic about that. So yeah, it's a good little nailer, but after all that time Makita had to develop this thing, looking at how everybody else had done it, etc., it is a bit disappointing that it is so heavy. Right, timeout test. How long do these tools stay on after you've turned them on? Well, the 2 on the right are easy. When you pick it up, a light will light up here. So you pick it up, your hand automatically pushes a button here on the handle. And so the tool is live. Boof, fire it. So every time you pick it up to use it, it's on. Absolutely fantastic. And the AEG, which is probably the tool on this bench I've used the most. Same thing again. When you pick it up, no, I'll probably use the Hikoki more, let's be honest. When you pick it up, it's got that in the handle as well, slightly different place, but green light comes on, it's ready to go straight away. As soon as you pick it up, bang, you can fire it. You never have to worry about turning it on or turning it off, anything like that. And if you're worried that you have to have your finger on that to fire it, you don't. Once you've touched that, you could have it upside down on a weird angle, just your finger on the trigger, like you sometimes have to do, and it'll stay on for about 20 seconds. So you got plenty of time to make your shot. Dum-de-doo. There we go. So these are the three here that we really need to focus on. In fact, I'll get these other two off the bench altogether. Now the Makita is pretty easy to see because we've got this light here up the top on the front. The Milwaukee's nice and easy on the back here, right where you look if you're holding the tool. And the Hikoki is unfortunately in a pain in the ass place. It's a tiny little light next to the button here. The light is so small. Oh man, you can't even see it on the camera, can you? It's just that tiny little green light there next to this crappy little battery gauge, which has two lights, two red dots. And yeah, that's the on-off switch. I'm going to probably have to set this camera up in such a way that we can do this. This tool, of course, only has single fire because it's New Zealand. The Milwaukee, you might notice though, has bump fire. Anyway, I'm going to turn all of these on. They've all got a 5 amp hour battery. We're going to run the timer here and just see how long each one lasts. My money is on the Milwaukee lasting the longest, and we'll just see where the Makita fits in. This one, something people complain about all the time, that it turns off too quick, and I've got a feeling the Makita might be pretty similar, but this will let us know for sure. Are we ready? The most exciting test of the year. Milwaukee on, Hikoki on, Makita on, and away we go. At least it's quiet. Most of the time when I do runtime tests, it's noisy as all hell in here. But seeing as we haven't got two routers on the bench or anything like that, it's quite nice. I can carry on waffling. Except I'm not going to, because yeah, I don't really want to stand here talking for 20 minutes, and you probably don't want to hear me talk for 20 minutes. So I'll come back in about 20 minutes and see how we go.
Speed up the footage, so it's not so fucking boring. Nobody wants to watch a timer on a bench. Even I forgot about it, because it's so fucking boring. But now it's time to reveal what actually happened.
Oh, look at this. We're at 39 minutes. I forgot about this. I just walked back in the room, and Makita and Hikoki are off, and Milwaukee's still going, and the battery's about to die on the camera, so I'll go back and check some footage. Having reviewed the footage, I can see that the Hikoki and the Makita both cut out at the 30-minute mark. So Makita didn't learn anything from that either. But look, the Milwaukee, nearly an hour later, still going. But the magazine, I prefer to every other one I've got. It is nice. It releases nicely. It slides real nice. The nails, like I said earlier, come out super nice. It is a very nice magazine. Thankfully, I haven't had to use the built-in tool storage here for an Allen key for undoing the front if you have a jam, but haven't used it enough to have a jam yet. In fact, you know, I never really had too much of a problem in the way of jamming with most nail guns. Apart from the Hikoki, had a few jams with that. And the Milwaukee I've had jams with, but only when I was trying to put through those round head nails that I showed earlier that it didn't like. Thankfully this one does like them, so it means I can fire most things through this. Most nails, but not these sort of joist hanger bracket style nails. Although, they do go in alright. But what do you reckon? Oh, go on then. So, is it going to work? Is it going to jam? Is it going to fuck things completely? Well, it's a good way to show you the shape here. Look at the shape of that striker. It's interesting, isn't it? Not quite what I expected. It's made a nice deep hole. And there's our nail. In a bit of an awkward position. Bugger. Might have to open this thing up now. Thankfully it just dropped out the end. I'm going to try it once more just in case the paper was holding it back a little bit and it wasn't quite in the right place, but now that it's fired a nail it should be in the right place. If that's the theory, let's go. Ooh. Didn't sound happy, did it? Once again, nails in the same place. Whew, smells bad. Oh, it's bent a whole lot of nails up inside the tool here. Arse. Well, I got them back out all right. I don't think that one's meant to be in there. Let's see if we can just get that to drop through. Yay! Now, hopefully, that didn't fuck anything. Let's put some 90s back in there and see how we go. boy, those fire in deep. It's just about gone all the way through that 12mm bit of point. Not quite, but pretty darn close. So there you go. I tried it, so you don't have to. It's not going to work with these bracket style nails, but that's to be expected. It's not designed for these sort of things. These have special guns just for firing these nails alone. But now that they've got the basic unit, they can make one just by changing out the tip here a little bit and maybe changing the magazine. The rest of the tool would remain the same. And speaking of other nailers, Makita do have a new 18 gauge and 16 gauge nailer coming, and they can have anything with these. Now that they've got this, they can, you know, change it to concrete nails, all sorts of different things they'll be bringing out over the next year or two, I do imagine. Possibly duplex nailers, roofing nails, coil nailers, all sorts of stuff. There's a lot in the works. Makita might finally have a decent range of nailers. I know you guys don't like Makita nailers. People have, you know, I don't have any other Makita nailers because of all the bad things people keep telling me about them. Don't bother. Apart from the 40-volt brad nailer, which is nice, but still, you know, most of you will know the issues with that. I mean, 40-volt, yet it only does up to 40mm nails. A lot of people are disappointed by that. Anyway, is this the first decent nail gun Makita have made? One that can stand up with everybody else? Yes, I think it is. Apart from that weight issue, that's the only real problem. But I guess that's it, eh? I don't need to do any more. I've been waiting for this review for so long. It feels like sort of like this is the end. So I guess tools out.